How's it going? Matt McNeil coming to you from the garage. And I am actually taking a little bit of a break from these guys. I've got to order some eyeballs and stuff, so I'm waiting on coats, and I finished printing up the last of the teeth. They're still sitting over there in the curer, but I got 5 of them painted. And like I say, I've got to paint some teeth and get some hair on these guys. But back to this guy, I decided to take a minute and sort of have a palate cleanser, maybe, if you want to call it that. Do something, that doesn't take a long time to do, but kind of gives me a artistic outlet and something a little different than Jerry. And this is what I came up with. I need to come up with a name for this guy. Oh, I know what it should be. His name should be Terry. Get it? Because his face is torn. Terry. All right, this is Terry. Sorry. But, yeah, so anyway, and the reason I show it to you is because this is one of what I call a sort of a bucket zombie. Now, it is actually sort of made up of 2 masks. There's a skull mask that I made several years ago that I use as the base, and it's literally the neck all the way up, the gums, and all this bone, and if you turn him around, if you were to take the wig off, you would actually see the back of the skull sculpture. All of this is part of that skull mask. But what I did was I poured a front half of a Jerry because of it was a human face, and I thought usually I do these and they're like super crazy rotted, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be kind of cool to try one where we have more of a face on it? So I took a Jerry and I poured just the front half, and I chewed it all up, ripped it up, frayed the edges where I thought would be kind of neat. Initially, I thought maybe I would just do this and have the top half only be skull, which was kind of a cool idea. But when I put it all together, it didn't quite read like I wanted, and I felt like I wanted hair on him and that kind of stuff. And I didn't want to do the top half being hair and skin, and then the bottom half being teeth and jawbone and all that, because not that it's not super cool, because it is. It's just I think you see that a lot. So anyway, I just wanted to try something a little interesting, a little different. There was an old Gore Street magazine 100 years ago where a guy's head was lopped off, like right here, and his eyeball was sort of floating in the top of his brains and stuff. So what I did was I cut off the top of this, and I left the top of his eyeball showing. I thought that would be kind of cool, so that it's like, it's like, the part that was ripped off exposes the top of the eyeball. And I like the idea of being able to look down into this sort of nose cavity here. The teeth are acrylic. And they were used when I sculpted this skull, so you can buy them on Amazon. They're really awesome, and they totally elevate a mask in a way that you kind of can't describe until you see it in person, because individual teeth like this feel very real, as opposed to being sort of like latex teeth with like paint in between them. You know what I mean? They're just totally individual, which is really kind of cool. But the latex bucket part of this is, all of the tendons and gross stuff. So I looked up some references with the way tendons run, and I sort of, made them rotted and gross and all of that stuff, and used some black and red permablood, which is like literally my favorite thing. But what I'll do is I take permablood and I add a little bit of ink to it, and you get that sort of same quality of permablood, but you can make it a darker color, particularly if you're doing some sort of rotted zombie guy. And then I think what I might do on this guy is I might put just some sort of like collar shirt to finish him off, and some blood on the shirt. But anyway, I've been doing this for the last day or so, so that I could just take a break from those guys. But I'm going to get back to those guys. But before I get back to those guys, I've got to foam fill this Eddie Quist, and I've got to pour 2 Michael blanks. So that can actually happen while I'm working on these guys, because I can paint teeth. So anyway, there it is. I just thought you guys might think this was interesting. One of the things that I just realized is what I should do. See, this is a Jerry tongue. Actually, what might even be better is I have the tongue from the Ed Wolf, which is kind of rotten looking, and maybe put put a rotted tongue in there. Maybe I'll pour an Ed Wolf tongue. So I guess if there were any lesson to this, is don't throw anything away. Like, you know, if you've got like the first half of a mask blim or something that didn't go right on a whatever, and you feel like it could be potentially something else, set it aside. You might figure out how to use it. This skull mask I poured maybe 2 years ago, and it's just been sitting on a shelf. And I thought, well, I ought to give that a day in court. These teeth I had left over from when I sculpted the skull to begin with. These weren't the ones that were in the skull, but I bought several different sizes to see what would fit. And these worked great for this purpose. This wig is a wig that I kind of had chilling in the garage when I was testing out Jerry Dandridge, or maybe even Michael wigs. Actually, this is the first wig I tested as a Michael wig, and it wasn't long enough. So, yeah, you can do some fun stuff. And the other thing that occurs to me is, man, wouldn't this be cool if I made him into a full-size dude? Like, if I got a mannequin and bought some clothes for him and distressed the crap out of him and made like a life-size zombie out of this dude. Boy, this would be maybe a cool full-size guy. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, so there you go. Latex bucket zombie with, you know, pieces and parts from other places. So he is a true Frankenstein, even though he's a zombie. So hope everybody's having a good night. And you're doing cool stuff in your garage. Sometimes you just need to switch gears for a minute and do something else. And this is my something else. Hope everybody's having a good night. Talk to you soon.